Hello everyone, welcome to SlipjointSawyer. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Victorinox knife, and as you may have noticed, I'm on a big Victorinox kick at the moment. Just really started collecting them maybe properly 2 to 3 months ago, and they've just sort of exploded into my collection. I did a collection overview maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, and I've already had multiple new pieces since then, so they're really sort of growing at a rapid rate, and I really do enjoy them. I do carry different sorts of Swiss Army knives on a daily basis, depending on what I'm going to be doing, whether it's going to the office, things like that. But anyway, let's jump on with today's video. So this is the box the knife came in. It's so you got the Victorinox logo on there. It's a standard sort of silver box. So you have Victorinox since 1884, the original Swiss Army knife. So you got the barcode on there and Swiss made. And this side there, you've got their sort of address and contact information. And then you can see here, this is the model number is 2.3903.C, and that is the EvoGrip 14 in the red/black. So this is quite an interesting piece, and I'll go over some details about why it's interesting, things like that in a second. So here it is. This is the Victorinox Evo 14, or the EvoGrip 14 I should say. So the reason it's given that name is the Evo is for the evolution scales, which is these sort of ergonomic handles. So you can see you've got the different sort of grooves and ridging. So when you're holding the knife, you know, it's pretty much a pinch grip here, and then your palm and your other 2-3 fingers sort of grab onto it here, and it just gives you a really nice supportive grip, as it does have this really nice texture on the grip as well. Really adds to the sort of aesthetic of the knife, in my opinion. I really do like the contrast between the red and the black. And then you can get the normal Evo, which is without the grip, so it would just be the normal red underneath here. So why is this one a bit different to the rest of the Victorinox range? So this is part of their Delémont range, and Delémont is a sort of came into existence with Victorinox in about 2013, and these models are actually Wenger knives. So Victorinox bought out Wenger in 2005 and continued to make them under the name of Wenger till about 2013, and then in 2013 they changed all the Wenger knives to Victorinox Delémont. So anything you see that's an EvoGrip, the Ranger series, there's quite a few. If it's a Delémont range, it would have been an old Wenger sort of style knife. So that's what this is basically. This is basically a new version of a Wenger. There's a couple of big differences between the knife, so I'll go through some differences, and I'll also show you some comparisons against a Super Tinker, which I have here with me as well. But obviously one of the biggest differences to start with is the grips, and the Wenger models are 85mm, so compared to the standard SAK of 91 or 84 of the sort of compact, the Recruit, things like that. This one does have 14 functions, so we'll go over the outside and then we'll go into the tools. So you can see keyring, function number 1. We have the tweezers, very useful if you get a splinter, picking up small parts. Function number 2. And we have the toothpick on the other side, really useful for, actually a tip from Retro Stu, a subscriber, cleaning out the charging port on your phone. If it gets full of dust and things like that, this can be really useful for that. So thank you, Retro Stu, appreciate that. And then we have on the back here, we have the corkscrew, and you have the reamer, owl and sewing eye. That one's got a really stiff pull to get out of there. So you can see this would be good for sort of punching holes in belts, things like that. And you've got the sewing eye in there, and of course the nice clean nail nick. And there is an edge on this reamer. It's not sharp so that you can run your finger across and it'll cut you, but it's sharp enough to go through leather, which is pretty much ideal. And then turn it round onto the first layer. So we have, on this side, we have the small flathead screwdriver with the can opener. Clean nail nick on there, nothing on the tang stamps, and a nice edge and a really nice corner on here to really puncture into the can when you're opening it. And on this side, a difference is where the main differences really start. So on a normal Victorinox, this would have a half stop, but there's no half stop on this one. And you can see that the flathead is a lot smaller on this than on a normal Victorinox knife. But you do still get the flathead, the cap lifter, and you've got the wire stripper just in there. So whereas on a Victorinox you'd use the wire stripper sort of in the half stop, You can see the scales cover it here, so the wire stripper would be used in the full open position here. Next up we have the scissors. These again very different from the Swiss Army knife scissors. So the two main differences really, you can see they have their own sort of separate back spring, but that does mean that when you use them they sort of angle up. But I've been using them and I've not found any sort of difficulty using them. They've not been able to cut straight lines or anything. They're perfectly fine. I think they're really good quality scissors, and I do like this separate back spring. I just wish they would make it in such a way that the scissors would stay still, if that makes sense when you're using it, because they do. And if I hold them against there, you can see the markup. But they are really good, really well engineered. They bounce back every time. There's no sort of stick, nothing like that. And they do have like an over travel. You can see that pin in that hole. It stops it over, you know, opening too far, so you can't sort of open them all the way around. So that's really good. The next sort of difference is these are serrated scissors. It's quite hard to show. If I get it just right in the light, you just see the serrations in there. There we go. You can see the serrations there, and on this side the serrations on this side. And I've been using these to sort of open up a couple of boxes, and they are fantastic for that. You can see a bit of cardboard caught in there. They really do munch through it like nothing really. They are excellent scissors. Something didn't really notice until I started using them. I didn't notice they were sort of serrated, but there we go. Serrated scissors. And then on the final layer we have sort of looks like a nail cleaner and a nail file. Could be used as a small pry for something very delicate. Wouldn't go prying too much with it though, because it's only thin. Really good nail file. Nice sort of roughness to there. You could actually use that rather than, you know, the normal zebra style one where they just mill out the metal, which doesn't really do anything. Again, you can see the nail nick on there as well. And then finally we have the spear blade, and you might be able to tell right off the bat there's quite a big difference from this. This has quite a lot more belly than the standard sort of Victorinox blade. We'll take a look at the tang stamp as well. You can see you have Victorinox, Swiss made and Delémont. So back to the Delémont, I'm saying this basically means it's a Wenger model, and they named it their Delémont range. So if I grab a normal sort of super tinker now, we can look at some of the comparisons really in the tools. So I mentioned about the cap lifter and the flathead screwdriver, so we'll look at some of the differences with that. There we go. You can see pretty much, obviously it's a bit smaller, but you can see the sort of design is different. You've got a much bigger arc and less of a sort of gap between the cap lift, between the sort of wire stripper and the cap lifter. And nail neck's a bit bigger and a bit lower down. And then we also have the difference between the main blades, which is pretty apparent when you see it. Obviously apart from the length, of this one's bigger, but then you have the main blade there of each. So you can see it's a nice thin drop point blade, which is what I would really call it when you compare these two, because spear blade, the point is right in the middle, where if you look at the point of the normal super tinker, you can see the point is to the left, so it kind of looks more like a drop point compared to this. We can see the belly there and the comparison of both. And truth be told, I really do prefer the blade on this Delémont range. I really like the belly on the knife. It gives me a bit more control, and I just think the overall aesthetic of it looks much better to me. I'm really enjoying this EvoGrip 14. It's been in my sort of cart for a very long time, and I finally sort of picked it up. I just wanted to see what it was like, and I'm really pleased I did. Got it for an absolute bargain over on Amazon UK. I think I paid 30 for it, where the normal price of it is like £40 up, and I think it's even 45 on the Victorinox website. So if you're after a bargain, definitely check it out. I'll just take a look at the length of that main blade. So you have here 1, 2, just over 2.5 inches, and then a cutting edge 1, 2, just over 2. So again, very UK friendly and pretty much worldwide friendly Victorinox. So there we go guys, that's my review of the Victorinox EvoGrip 14 Delémont range. I hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to like, subscribe and ring that bell for notifications, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.